It's a very popular hypothetical question. What would you do with a time machine? Originally my answer was, I would go back 21 years and do the world a massive favour by convincing my dad to blow it out in her hair, but now I think I'd like to change my answer to, go back and rewrite the promise of a video on Dear White People, or maybe even start work on my 5 videos in May before the fucking 20th. What selfish ideas those are. I should have said something more universally altruistic like prevent the mass enslavement of an entire subset of humanity, or sodomise Jesus, thus saving same-sex couples having the hassle of equal rights campaigning. Yes, well, here we are. A promise is a promise, and it's days like this I'm delighted this channel is almost impossible to find. Dear White People tells the stories of several black students at what appears to be a progressive American university. Whilst the show follows each of the characters individually, the main focus is clearly Sam, a young woman who runs a comical radio show called Dear White People, aimed at teaching people basic social lessons. I know this might sound strange, but I wanted to learn these lessons. I guess because I'm one of those lefty snowflakes who, wants to become more educated in the opinions and lifestyles of cultures different to my own to make me a more respectable person to be around. I'm already aware of my unearned privilege. I've never once been shot by a police officer. I do live in England, where we only have 3 policemen, a traffic warden, and a woman who seems baffled and outraged that this extensive security could be less than effective should there be a terrorist atrocity. Oops, I slid away from the topic to make a good and correct point. The inherent racism within the university is brought to the surface after something called a blackface party, in which some crackers smeared paint on themselves to show respect for another culture. By the way, if you're watching this show wondering why I'm not dripping with white pride, first of all, welcome back, Mr. President. It looks like you're still wearing some of the paint from your last party. Oh no, that's your actual face, is it? Secondly, pride implies overcoming something. Saying you're proud to be white is like saying you're proud to be 6 feet tall. Unless you underwent some strange procedure to get there, you didn't exactly achieve anything. And if that 6-foot-tall person decides to stoop down shouting, "Look everyone, I'm Warwick Davis," you wouldn't be surprised to find a certain section of humanity irritated that their genuine struggle is being, if you'll pardon the pun, belittled by someone who didn't have to overcome anything. All of this is why I originally intended to do this video. It's a show revolving around a big social issue that I haven't really talked about in this ever-stagnating series. And while I'm obviously the least qualified to talk about issues like this, I could at least learn something. But the first problem arose when I noticed the comedy label. Oh shit, I hate talking about comedies. Either I end up gushing over how funny and clever something is, thus looking very much unfunny and unclever, or I'm bitterly sulking because as an amateur comedian, every time I see a Kevin James style success story, it makes me wonder if the secret to comedy isn't timing or surprise, it's actually beige. Sure, there is a middle ground, a comedy that isn't very funny but I accept that's just an issue of personal taste, but that isn't exactly an interesting stance, is it? There's no obvious way of inserting the word cunt. For the record, Dear White People is in the last category. I laughed a few times, but I was stopped from enjoying myself properly by the addition of a group of people I am prejudiced against. Young people. Oh God, look at them. I want to start a controversial radio show called Dear Young People. The problem is, it won't be a coherent other perspective on a long-running social debate. It'll just be me shouting, "Fuck off!" into the microphone from now until the day I finally die. I was more than prepared for the white guilt, but I had no idea that this show would make me feel like a fusty old grandpa with dementia. I mean, these young fuckers talk about bays, despite being nowhere near an enclosed section of ocean. They also describe things as woke, which I guess is an abbreviation of Wokingham in Berkshire. Fucking young people mocking me with their mortality and strange words. They shouldn't even be allowed on TV. And yes, given that some of my viewers technically are young people, I'm sure that you feel misrepresented by my grand sweeping generalisations about an entire subset of humanity, because after all, an individual can't easily be described using stereotypes based on natural attributes out of their control. Oh look, this massive maniacal tangent was actually about something, not just the scrawled mess of a pre-massacre serial killer.